Good morning, good afternoon, good evening from wherever you may be viewing this. I'm going to give you several reports concerning the situation between Israel's IDF and Hezbollah leading up to what has occurred just today. The first one comes from the Times of Israel, dated August 17th, 2024. 55 rockets launched at North after IDF strike on Hezbollah arms depot said to kill 10. Lebanese health ministry says dead are all Syrian nationals and include a woman and her two children. No injuries reported in rocket attacks, but several fires erupt. Hezbollah launched a barrage of some 55 rockets at a northern Israeli kibbutz on Saturday in what is said was a response to an Israeli airstrike overnight that killed at least 10 people and wounded 5 others. The Israeli Defense Force said it targeted a weapons depot belonging to the terror group. In a separate incident Saturday, 2 IDF soldiers were wounded in an explosive drone strike on a military position near the northern community of Misgav Am, the military said. One of the soldiers was listed in serious condition, while the other was slightly hurt. Hezbollah claims the attack, saying it launched 2 drones at Israel. The large barrage targeted Eilat Hashahar, a kibbutz located some 10 kilometers from the Lebanon border. The community is not among dozens of evacuated towns. There were no reports of injury, but the rocket sparked blazes in at least 10 locations in Upper Galilee. Hezbollah took responsibility for the barrage, saying it came in response to the deadly Israeli strike near Nabatheh. At least 10 people were killed and 5 wounded in the Israeli strike, according to Lebanon's health ministry. The Lebanese ministry said all the dead were Syrian nationals and included a woman and her 2 children. 5 others were wounded, of whom 2 were in critical condition. Hezbollah said that all the dead were civilians. The strike on Wali al-Kafur in Nabatheh province was among the deadliest in Lebanon since the Hezbollah terror group started launching attacks on October 8th, a day after Hamas attacked southern Israel, sparking Israeli response. You're going to have to forgive me for the pronunciation of some of these names. I'm just not familiar with them. Continuing, Mohammed Shoaib, who runs a slaughterhouse in Wadi al-Kafur, said the area struck was an industrial and civilian area that contained factories producing bricks, metal, and aluminum, as well as a dairy farm. The uncle of 3 of the people killed in the airstrike said they were factory workers who were in their housing accommodations when they were hit. He denied that there were weapons at the facility. There was nothing at all like that, Hussein Shahoud said. There was metal for construction, for building, for all kinds of purposes. The IDF confirmed carrying out the airstrike near Nabaith overnight, saying it targeted a Hezbollah weapons depot. Additionally, the IDF says fighter jets struck buildings used by Hezbollah in Hanain and Maroun al-Ras, also in southern Lebanon. Next, from the Jerusalem Post, dated August 17, 2024. Power outage in Lebanon. The last operational power plant shuts down. South Lebanon water establishment said that shutting down power plants will negatively affect their ability to pump sufficient quantities of water into the area. The Zahrani power plant, the last and only plant still providing electricity in Lebanon, reportedly shut down on Saturday, South Beirut International reported on X, citing Lebanon's Electric Corporation. The Electric Corporation, as per South Beirut International, said that Zahrani no longer supplies electricity as a result of the exploitation of the plant's oil reserves, which resulted in a complete interruption of the supply of electricity to all areas of Lebanon, including the basic facilities in the country, including the airports, water and sewage infrastructure, and more, Israeli media reported. Next, from the Times of Israel. IDF launches extensive strikes against Hezbollah in 10 areas of southern Lebanon, dated August 22nd, 2024. The IDF said Thursday that it carried out extensive airstrikes against Hezbollah terror group sites in southern Lebanon overnight, as the spiraling violence between the two sides showed no sign of losing momentum. Attacks carried out by fighter jets targeted weapon depots, buildings used by Hezbollah, and a rocket launcher in 10 areas of southern Lebanon, according to an update from the military. The widespread strikes come in response to a Hezbollah barrage of 50 rockets the previous day at the northern town of Katzrin that caused significant damage and wounded an Israeli man. Next, from the Times of Israel, dated August 23rd, 2024. At least 7 Hezbollah operatives killed in IDF strikes as terror group bombards north. No injuries after more than 100 projectiles launched from Lebanon throughout the day. Military says among those it targeted were 2 members of Hezbollah's rocket and missile unit. At least 7 Hezbollah members were killed Friday in separate Israeli airstrikes on southern Lebanon, as the Iranian-backed terrorist organization launched over 100 projectiles at the north throughout the day. The strikes included targeting of a Hezbollah cell preparing to shoot rockets from the village of Tyre Harfa. The other Hezbollah members were killed in separate attacks in Aita al-Jabal, Maze al-Jabal, Aitoran, and Ma'arakeh. Okay. According to the Israeli Defense Forces, the airstrike in Aita al-Jabal targeted Mohammed Najam, a prominent member of Hezbollah's rocket and missile unit in southern Lebanon. Lebanese media reported that alongside Najam, his nephew Zulfikar Radwan was also killed in the airstrike. The military also identified Saeed Mahmoud Diab, who was killed in Marrakech by an IDF drone as a member of Hezbollah's rocket and missile unit. The IDF said the operative had launched rockets at Yiftah area earlier in the day and was killed upon being spotted at a building used by Hezbollah, while the operative in Tehran was struck shooting projectiles toward Malkia. Hezbollah later released statements announcing several members were killed on the road to Jerusalem, its term for operatives slain in Israeli strikes, naming Najam as among them. Their deaths brought Hezbollah's declared toll to at least 427 since it began attacking northern Israel a day after the October 7 terror onslaught from Gaza by its Palestinian ally Hamas. The Israeli strikes followed several Hezbollah attacks in the morning, including the firing of missiles at the Mount Meron base. Hezbollah has attacked Mount Meron, located some 8 kilometers from the Lebanon border, several times amid the ongoing war, launching large barrages of rockets toward the site, as well as guided missiles at the sensitive air traffic control base that sits atop it. The IDF reported no injuries in the latest attack, during which 3 projectiles were fired at the base, one of which was intercepted. Hezbollah also launched several rocket volleys at northern Israel on Friday, including a fusillade of some 40 projectiles fired at the Kiryat Shimona area and a salvo of around 20 rockets targeting Safed and its surrounding areas. No injuries were reported in any of the attacks. Next, from Israeli National News, Arutz Shiva, dated August 23rd, 2024. Dozens of rockets fired toward the north. IDF eliminates senior Hezbollah terrorist. Approximately 40 projectiles fired from Lebanon in 1 hour. Israeli Air Force eliminates terrorist Saeed Mahmoud Daib, a member of Hezbollah's rocket and missile unit in the Tyre area. Dozens of rockets were fired from Lebanon towards northern Israel on Friday afternoon and evening, with sirens sounding in the area. The IDF said that some of the projectiles were intercepted and no injuries were reported. In total, at least 100 rockets were fired from Lebanon towards the north from Friday morning until 8:30 p.m., Approximately 40 projectiles were fired between 7:30 p.m. and 8:30 p.m. alone. In addition, the IDF spokesperson, the unit announced that the IAF struck and eliminated terrorist Saeed Mahmoud Daib, a terrorist in Hezbollah's rocket and missile unit in the entire area. The IAF also struck the launcher from which rockets were fired toward the area of Zafat earlier in the day. The most recent barrage of rockets caused fires in JNF KKL forests in the north. There have been no reports of injuries thus far. And that leads us to the article from today from Jewish News Syndicate. Israel attacks Hezbollah in Lebanon, preempting extensive attack, dated August 25th, 2024. The Israeli military attacked sites preemptively in Lebanon, from which Hezbollah planned to launch rockets and missiles at Israel in an extensive attack early in the morning on Sunday, the Israeli Defense Force said. Hezbollah subsequently launched more than 150 projectiles at the Jewish state from Lebanon, the Israeli Defense Force stated. We target terrorist infrastructure, they target civilians, it said. Israel's preemptive attack was aimed at missile launchers in Lebanon that had been programmed to be fired at 5 a.m. in the direction of Tel Aviv, the New York Times reported, citing a Western intelligence official who said all the launchers that were targeted were destroyed and that Israel was anticipating a harsh response from Hezbollah. All of these things between Israel and Hezbollah seem to be getting worse. And I wonder how long it's going to be until it's just an all-out war. And then I wonder if, in fact, Iran will get involved and what other neighbors of Israel might get involved as well. We'll just have to wait and see. Until next time, be awake, be alert, pay attention.